We're going to start up here in the front and work our way around. It has one 12-volt battery on the front of the unit. This supplies it with 12 volt. Two 20-pound propane cylinders that are full, except for what we use to service the trailer. On our gas regulator, it has an arrow on this side here, so we're working off of this one. We'll go ahead and open it up. There is a light switch for hooking up at nighttime. Then you have your up and down switch for running the jack up or down. And then there's a little plate up on top. There is a manual way that you can crank the jack up or down. For any reason it won't go on its own. I would check the 30-amp fuse on the side of the jack first to make sure that it's not blown. If it still doesn't work, there is a manual handle in the front compartment that comes through the top and will manually crank that jack up or down. For any reason it won't work off the switch. Looks like it works off the switch right there. On the bottle cover, there's two little tabs on the bottom of it to put a bungee cord underneath the bottle rack to hold the cover in place. But it also has the quick disconnect at the top so that you don't have to take the bottle cover off every time that you want to turn the bottles on or off. Then you got your safety chains up front. We'll come back to the back. We're going to go into the outside of the hot water heater. Hot water heater is gas and electric. It has the anode rod pulled out. The anode rod is your drain for the hot water heater, but it is also to pull all the impurities out of the water to the rod. Eats up the rod instead of eating up the inside of the tank. I'm going to slide it right back in the hole. There's also a little black cap here to the side that is for the freshwater drain. I'll show you that when we get back to the back of the axles. And it has an electric switch in the lower left-hand corner for the electric side of the hot water heater. The gas switch is going to be on the monitor panel on the inside. Before you turn it on gas or electric, you always want to pop the pop-off valve at the top. Make sure it's completely full of water before you turn it on electric or gas, either way. There's going to be some valves on the back of it. We'll show you that when we get to the inside. But it has the 4 BLs on all corners. Once you get it on the site where you're going, level side to side, the stabilizers come down and they hit the ground and about a turn past that. They're not for leveling the trailer. They're just for stabilizing it while you walk through the center of it. It is marked for low water drain points there. They're not actually there. They are right here in front of the back axle, front axle, up underneath the frame. There is a blue line and a red line. The red line is the hot side of the water system. The blue is the cold side of the water system. You'll use those for winterizing and dewinterizing of the trailer. And in between long trips, if you don't want to have stagnated water in the lines, you can open them up and let the water come out as you're coming home. There is a 30-amp power cord in this compartment for the unit. Goes onto the side of the trailer, makes a quarter return, plugs into a 30-amp service. Lug nuts on the trailer has been torqued at 100 foot-pounds. It's what's recommended on the side. Tire pressure on the side of these are 50 pounds cold. We're going to come back. You have a freshwater tank fill and a city water connect that you can hook to. And never have to fill the tank, work right off the water pressure going to the city water connect. But there is a drain line right behind the rear axle that little black cap that's in the outside hot water heater compartment goes onto to make it hold water inside while you're filling through the fresh tank connection. On your termination valve here in the back, the 2-inch gray valve in the front will be your kitchen sink, your bathroom sink, and your shower water. The 3-inch black valve in the back will be the toilet water only. Here's where your cord will hook up. It goes on, makes a quarter of a turn, tighten up the black knob. We have a luggage rack on the back that is pinned on both sides. You pull the E-pin out, pull your bigger pin out, the rack will lay down. Put your pin back in, put your E-pin back into it so that it stays stable behind the unit. It is also your spare tires mounted to the bottom of it. When the rack's down, the spare tire's pretty close to the ground, so you want to make sure the trailer runs level while you're towing it. Another outside compartment underneath the bunk beds on the door side. Pretty good sized compartment. You can store a lot of stuff in there. All the compartments have holders that will hold the door up. Should have showed you that as we was going through. That will hold the door up in place so that you don't have to stand there and hold it. stabilizer jacks. Outside of the refrigerator's next. On the refrigerator, it works 3 ways: 12 volt, 110, and propane. It does not cool down on the 12 volt. The 12 volt is for in case it would lose 110 power coming to the refrigerator. The 12 volt kicks in, automatically kicks it over and lights it on gas as long as the gas bottle's in the front of the unit's on. It does have the 2 outside speakers. I'll show you more about that on the stereo on the inside. It does have a vent for the stove to vent, not that you burn anything, but to vent smoke or fumes from the inside of the trailer out. Has 2 little tabs on the side of that. Pull the 2 little tabs down, allows the flapper to flap. Got the corner broke off of it. There is a place for the TV to come from the inside to the outside, slides down in here, plugs into the 110 outlet, and has a coax cable hook up here that works off the antenna on top of the trailer. Outside of the furnace is next. It's going to suck cold air in the top, hot air out the bottom. I always suggest putting the mud dauber screen over the outside of the furnace for the simple fact once it's been lit on propane, it has a smell to it that attracts the mud daubers to that. They go inside, they build their little dirt nest on the inside of there, and it cuts your airflow down and causes the furnace not to operate properly. We're going to skip right by the front door for now. Move up to the front compartment. It has a little handle that goes in the top of the tongue jack that will manually crank the tongue jack up or down. Has 2 more handles that goes onto the balance jacks on all 4 corners. There's 2 of those handles. And then there's also a sway control in the front compartment. The sway control only has 1 pin for it. No lights in the front compartment. Does have the little door holder on the side there. While we're standing outside, my theory on all the trailers is the roof is the life expectancy of the trailer. You don't have to seal them every 90 days, but it doesn't hurt to go up and look at it. Check, make sure it doesn't have any bubbles or cracks in the lap sealer. If it does, seal over the top of it with lap sealer by Decor. It is self-leveling. We're going to open up the door. It does have a little door holder here on the side of it. It holds the door open. We're going to come back and grab a hold of the steps. On these steps, you don't want to get up here between this and the steps. You want to grab, lift up, slam them in place, pull the bottom step down. We're going to step up into the unit. There's 2 light switches on the wall. The first light switch turns the center row of lights in the unit on. The second light switch turns your porch light on. We're going to go ahead and run the slide room out. It's always good to make sure there's not a tree or a car parked up against the side of your slide room as you're running it out. We're going to come back up to the very top. It does have an awning on it. We're going to go ahead and extend it. We'll run it out as far as we can get it out between the 2 units. Till the skirt on the awning's hanging straight up and down. Once the awning's out, it does have a pinch point on both arms that you can come out and pull down against. Push the pitch of the rain coming off the back side of the awning. There's the one on the front arm the same way. But before you roll the awning back up, you're going to have to push it back up in place to where it's parallel with itself before you roll it back up. That way when the arm comes in, it lays inside the cradle. We're going to go ahead and leave that sit out for just a little bit. We're going to come back into the monitor panel. We're going to check the battery life on it. It shows you the battery's fully charged. That's not really accurate. Anytime that you want to check the battery, you need to have the 110 line unplugged from the unit. Then push your battery button and it tells you exactly how much charge is in the battery. We're gonna go up to our fresh tank and it's showing that it's empty. As it fills up, it'll show 1/3, 2/3 full. Once it hits full, I turn the water pressure off going to the freshwater tank fill. We're gonna go up to the black tank. The black tank's showing that it's got 1/3 in it. That's probably a false reading. It could be toilet paper across the lines. We did fill it with water till it was full and then dumped it. Same way with our gray tank. As it fills up, it'll show 1/3, 2/3 full. We're gonna come down to the red buttons on the side. The one on the left-hand side is the gas side of the hot water heater. When you turn it on, the little red light off to the side comes on. The red light's going to stay on for about a minute. It'll go off. Once it goes off, the hot water heater will go through 2 lighting processes to light on gas. For any reason it does not light on gas, that little red light will come back on. Second red switch says pump on the right-hand side of it. Turns the water pump on between the freshwater tank and the faucets. And when it's on, it is red, illuminated up the light switch, showing that it is on. There is 2 sets of keys for the trailer. The black key does the lock and deadbolt on the front door, and your other key is a 751 key that does all your outside compartments. Pretty good little cabinet space here off to the left-hand side as you walk in. Place to put the keys. The brown vent on the side of the cabinet is for the heat ducting. Does not come through the floor of the trailer. Comes through the cabinets, through the brown vents on the side. Also has a working LP detector that gives you that little annoying sound anytime that it would smell carbon monoxide or LP. It will come on and give you that little noise. If it's carbon monoxide, it beeps 4 times in a row, 2 different times. Light switch above the sink has to be turned on by hand. Has a little push button in the center of it. We're going to come back to the stove. We're going to turn the stove to the light position. We're going to give it a minute for the gas to get up to the stove. Broke the knob off. Okay, we're going to turn that right back off. It'll have to be lit with the hand, or the knob will have to, the valve here will have to be replaced for the igniter. Same way with your oven, you turn it to the pilot on. Push down on the button, light with a long lighter or match to the right hand side, right above the thermocoupler. Let it run for about a minute. Heats the thermocoupler up right above it, then you can turn it up to the temperature you want it to be at. 2 drawers on the trailer. That's where the keys was. Pretty good sized cabinet space underneath the kitchen sink. We're going to come back up to the microwave. On the microwave, the only thing I can tell you about it is it has a clock button. Let's say it's 11:30. Hit the clock button again till the 2 center eyes is flashing. The reason I set the time on the microwaves is because if I've left the unit and come back and it doesn't have the proper time, it indicates to me that it's lost 110 power coming to the trailer. Then I check my refrigerator next to make sure I haven't lost my food inside the refrigerator due to the electric being off. You have a light for the stovetop and a fan. For that fan to work properly, the 2 tabs on the outside of the stove vent have to be lifted up. Allows the flapper to flap back and forth. On the refrigerator, it has an auto side, which is the 110 side of it. Green light comes on, indicating that it is working. You got a pretty good space up and top, pretty good space in the bottom. Light in the bottom indicates that it is on 110. We're going to shut that back off. If you want it over on the gas, you turn it back to the off position, turn it on to gas. The green and yellow light both come on. The refrigerator will go through 3 processes trying to light on gas. For any reason it does not light on gas, the green and yellow light will start flashing. So anytime the green and yellow light's flashing, it means that it did not light on gas, and you need to check it to see why it did not light. Then you have your thermostat switch over to the right-hand side of that goes between 1 and 5 settings. Usually if you just turn the refrigerator on, run it on about 4 until it gets cool enough inside the refrigerator, you can kick it back down to about 3. Your breaker box is next. Breakers are marked with your main being at the top. AC's your next. GFCI outlets, microwave, and I can't read the bottom too. I don't have my glasses on. All your car fuses on the right-hand side are marked from the top to the bottom with the bottom 5 spaces being empty, to where you could add another 12-volt appliance to the unit if you wanted to. But they are all marked. Another little cabinet space off to the right-hand side of the refrigerator. Canned goods, groceries, cereal. We're going to come back to the AC. We're going to turn it on. We're going to hit the mode button one more time. It tells you the temperature. You can dial it down or dial it up. Hit the mode button one more time. It shows you the furnace setting. You can dial the temperature up for it. Hit the mode button one more time and it should say off in the lower right-hand corner. It is a Celsius and Fahrenheit. If for any reason it would get off of Fahrenheit over onto Celsius, you hold the plus and minus button down at the same time and it will change back over to Fahrenheit. Has a light switch on the top bunk and a 110 outlet. Does have a fire escape window on the bottom bunk. It's pretty simple to use. You'll pull the red handle on the screen, detaches the screen from the window. The red handle lifts up, comes through the bottom of the window frame so that you can use that for a fire escape window. Here again we have another brown vent on the side of the bottom bunk that brings heat into the bunk area. The light switch in the ceiling up here turns the light on above us. Does have a handle for cranking the vent up in the vent. Has a little black button that turns the fan on and off. It does have a max air over the top of the cover so that you can leave it open all the time. It has a single flush on the right hand side of the toilet. You pull it halfway, it fills with water. Pull it all the way, it fills and dumps. Your shower is just like the one you have at home. It's got hot water on the left side, cold water on the right side. The unit has been winterized. That's the reason for having the bags with the rubber bands over all the faucet connections. We're going to step back to the bathroom sink. The light above the sink has to be turned on by hand. It also has your GFCI outlet to the left side of the faucets. For any reason you plug an appliance into any of the 110 outlets and it won't work, check your switch on the front of the GFCI first. We do have hot water on the left side of the faucet, cold water on the right. Pretty good sized little shelf down here at the bottom. There is also, that's where your water pump is for running water between the freshwater tank and the faucets, but it already has a hose down there on it for winterizing that has to be turned in line with the hose that has nothing on the end of it when you stick it down in your antifreeze jug for pumping antifreeze through the whole system of the trailer. We're going to come back to the kitchen table. It does have a light above it that has to be turned on by hand. The tabletop comes off the 2 pedestals down below, goes down between the 2 boards on the side of the benches. You'll take your back 2 cushions off the back of the dinette seating to go over the top of the table to make a smaller bed for a kid there. It also has the skylight in the ceiling that you can open it up and get more lighting into the dinette area. The light above the couch has to be turned on by hand. It does have a butterfly couch, so we're going to lift up on it. It does have a little bit of storage underneath it, but when you fold it all the way out, it makes a smaller bed there for medium-sized kids or little short guys like me.
Or me.
We're going to come back up to the front. It has 2 remotes. Actually got 3 remotes. The littler one, or the larger one, is for the TV that turns the TV on. We're not going to get no reception inside the building over here, but the TV does come on. Still not going to get no reception because we are inside the building. We'll go ahead and turn it back off. Same way with the stereo. We're going to turn it on. It might get that's KTJJ. That's a Farmington station. It's probably 10 miles away from here. But you have A, B, and C on your speakers. We're going to turn A off. We're going to turn B off. And then you have C. We're going to turn A back on. It'll also play a DVD between the stereo and TV. You have to change your TV settings from TV to AV1. And you'll have to use your remote for the stereo to operate the DVD player. Then we also have another remote here. I can't remember what the number was on it, but that runs your awning lights. It runs your main slide. When it goes to slide, it gives you an arrow for in and out. Run it back out. We're going to go back to where it says awning. Same way with the awning. It has an in and out button for it, that you can run the awning in or out. So you got your awning lights, porch light, your main slide, and your awning is off of this remote here. The remote itself, you just lay it down, it'll shut itself off. There is an antenna on top of the trailer. There's a power booster inside the cabinet in here to get the amplify the sound that the antenna picks up to make you have a better picture on there. Little green light indicates it's working. Turn it back on. It also has a 12-volt port up at the top for charging, like a cigarette lighter would charge. We also have a 110 outlet on either side of the bed. We have a carbon monoxide detector above the bed. There is a round vent, white vent in the ceiling for the air conditioner. Should be at the foot of the bed, should be a vent. Nope, not a vent there.
Storage.
But you can access over here on the right-hand side or left-hand side. There is a place underneath where the back of the hot water heater is. Should have 3 valves on the back of the hot water heater. The one at the top is opened, the one at the bottom is open. The one in between them is closed, which allows water to come in, cold water to come into the bottom of the hot water heater, hot water to come out of the top. The one in between them is closed off. You'll use that when you winterize. You'll close the one at the top off, the one at the bottom off, open the one up in the middle so that the antifreeze makes a loop at the back of the hot water heater instead of having to fill the hot water heater with antifreeze. Has one more light above the headboard that turns on and off. Pretty good sized cabinet space at the top. Extra pillows and blankets. Cabinet space on either side for hanging clothes. And a place to mount another TV on this side of the wall that goes through that hole there. Your cords will, and plugs into the 110 outlet and the coax cable for the antenna on the other side. It does have a curtain on either side for the closing off between the living and kitchen area. And we have one more fire escape window on the off-door side of the unit in the master bedroom. Works the same way the one in the back does. Pull the red handle on the screen, pulls the screen out, lift the handle here up, slides over, and slides through the bottom of the door or window frame to allow you to escape on this side over here. Probably wouldn't hurt to put a little Vaseline on that D-seal on the window too. But that's basically everything on the unit. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them the best that I can. There is a big drawer at the bottom that goes up underneath the bed. Gives you the other piece of the TV and some of your paperwork that's in the unit. But that's basically, it does have a new fire extinguisher on the left-hand side of the door as you're going out. But that is basically everything on your trailer. The round vents in the ceiling vent your air conditioner. You have the quick cool down right here on the side that you can open up, let all the cold air come down into here. Close that back off. It goes to the round vents in the ceiling. Your furnace will vent through the brown vents on the floor, side of the cabinets. And that's basically everything on your trailer. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them the best that I can. Thank you for your time.